Welcome back to this special preview for week 1 of the Australian Cup Carnival. We've touched on the Group 1 team lead to be running 1 for the sprinters this Saturday night. Now it's time to get into the stayers. The Group 1 Zoom Top, which isn't exactly a vintage edition of the race, but it's been won by some jets in the past, the likes of Tornado Tears and Molly. Here is the past honour roller who have won this great race.
Without a doubt. Look, it's certainly a race that's for absolutely everyone. We see big name trainers there, but then also the likes of Stagger Out Lee. There was a fantastic, I think it was the first group race for the trainer there, but also Houdini Boy is a greyhound that had so much freak factor. I think this honour roll it's been fantastic throughout the years.
And Smithy, one that will stand out like a sore thumb to you, fan to Bale. You're a massive, massive fan. Here's how the field looks for the 2025 edition of the Zoom Top. And look, we're missing a few. I guess the likes of Val Policella and Late Night News, possibly Kenya All Class as well. But it's going to be a very entertaining contest on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a ripping contest, probably led by Ethanol Water. She draws box number 1, which brings her right into it. She's already a 2-time Group 1 winner. The freak factor comes with Lanfranco. Irish Millie's a Group 1 winner. Cashing Out is another X Factor runner that's working its way through the grades and probably stepping up to the Group 1 before we expected, but he's going to be hard to beat. Groove Bird she's just a dog you just love to own, wouldn't you? An unreal speed. Well, we haven't seen him since May last year, but he is an absolute freak. Black Silencer is an absolute jet as well. He's going to get back and run home. And then Passmark is another one of these dogs you'd love to own. He just struts his stuff week in, week out, and always runs a good race. And then Lakeview Nola and Facetious, it probably drops away as we get to the reserves. Lakeview Nola hasn't had the opportunities over 700 that I know the Whelan Camp would like, and Facetious has only won 3 from 60 odd, but that top end of the market is where we're probably going to be honing in a fair bit because it is red hot.
And let's do that straight away with the run-up from box 1. That is Ethanol Water. We don't have to go too far back for her. I guess big note win because it did come last Thursday night in the Gold Cup at Albion Park.
Yeah, she was absolutely awesome. We've seen her a few times, Patch, where she's missed the start a little bit. On this occasion, in this replay we're about to see, she nails it. She comes out running, she leads the race, and when she leads a race and can run times like 41.46 at Albion Park, there's not many dogs that can run those sort of times, and there's certainly not many dogs that can run it, burning the candle at both ends like she does here. She's got really high caliber greyhounds in Black Silencer and Late Night News that are both get back and run on dogs that kind of got a little bit too far back, but all credit to Ethanol Water in this sort of circumstance. When she's highballing out, running those sort of times, those sort of splits that she was running on this occasion, she shows why there's been plenty of people that from day one, even when she was running over the 500 metres, have earmarked her as a stayer of the future, and she's arrived. There's no future, she is now.
Yep, she come along with her brother in Ethanol Volume, but it's been her, Ethanol Water, to kick on and do some really good things over 700 metres. A dual Group 1 winner, and now it might be 3 for her this Saturday night. Let's move on to the runner from box 2, and that is Lanfranco. Now, speaking of X Factor, he carries a bucket load of it. He was sensational his last outing at the Meadows. What we get from him Saturday night, we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, we're about to watch this replay here where he really stamped his authority and said that we have managed to drop the penny and we're showing us what everyone has wanted to see from us from pretty much day one. Lanfranco here from box number 7. He looms up on the outside here, and when he takes over, he unleashes, and 42.09 is the time that he ends up running here. That is the 4th fastest dog to ever go around the Meadows 730 metres. The dogs that have gone faster, Tornado Tears, Space Star, Nelly Noodles.
Fair company.
That is serious, serious company, and this is a serious, serious turn of foot that we are watching right now. Box number 7, he comes down to box number 2 for the Zoom Top. I honestly don't think the boxes really matter a huge amount for him. He's just a dog that needs to put it together between the 2 ears, and if he does that, he can be contesting every single big staying event probably over the next 12 to 18 months.
He's a rocket, no two ways about that. If he gets clear on Saturday night, watch out. Now to move on to the runner from box 3, Molly, it is Irish Millie, of course, won the Sandown Cup going back to May last year.
Absolutely. I think this does prove again this is a race for absolutely anyone. She races in really good company. She is proven at group level, but it is a really, really tough ask on Saturday night to perform against some of these other greyhounds.
It is. She's had a reasonable campaign up in Queensland, but of course it doesn't get any easier this Saturday night in the Zoom Top at the Meadows. Now moving on to Cashing Out, who's at the early part of his staying career, but doing some pretty good things.
Absolutely. We saw him win on debut over 700. He's then run second and backed up with the 4th placing. I think we're only going to see more consistency out of this greyhound.
And we spoke about the X factor of Land Franco. This next greyhound, we know what we're going to get from her. That is Groove Bird. She carries a fair bit of toad and likely to inject that into the race early on.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think versatility is probably one of the first things that spring to mind when you mention Groove Bird. She's got a great little ownership group as well. So tough ask though, another tough ask. There's a big difference between the top end and the rest of the field here.
Now to move on to the greyhound that I think everyone has been speaking about most ahead of this Zoom Top on Saturday night. It is Unreal Speed. Smithy. He hasn't been seen since May, where he possibly would have started favourite in the Sandown Cup, was scratched. So where he's at, we're not quite sure, but he has had a hit out in the lead up to this Zoom Top. Yeah,
he's had a few hit outs. He got cleared by the stewards, as they have to when they've had 6 months away from the racetrack. He's got box number 5 here, cops a little bit of curry, a little bit of a Byron Pickett style bump, and he just wears it. He's comfortable taking it. He's comfortable giving it, and we see him just absolutely launch into his work here. He's only had the 11 career starts. He's won 8 of them. Robbie Britton did not delay stepping him up in distance. He had one crack over the 500, and then he goes straight up to 600, and then straight up to 700 from there. And you can see why. You can see how strong he is. You can see how tough he is. He loves the argy-bargy, and while he's a question mark because we haven't seen him on the racetrack since May, I know Robbie Britton is going in with a high degree of confidence because he's been trialling really well, and that satisfactory trial at Geelong was red hot over the 460 metres. He just needs to run a few hundred metres more.
And let's hope we don't just get a good performance from him this Saturday night, but also going into the rest of 2025. Now we're going to take a look at Black Silencer, who's had huge raps on him over the past couple of months, and this is arguably his toughest test yet after he performed so well in the Gold Cup last week.
Yeah, I remember watching this dog early on in his career, and he always screamed he was going to be a stayer. And Steve and Kerry White, in the early days, they took their time, gave him plenty of grounding, and now he's been travelling here, there and everywhere he goes, he runs fast times. And this was a race that really surprised me because it showed another string to his bow. He's not the sort of dog that generally goes to the front, as he did here. He went 41.59 overall, but what impressed me was the way that he jumped out of the boxes. It's the only time that he's done it. I'm not expecting him to do it week in, week out. If he does, he's near on unbeatable. But what he does have is a serious race sense. So he can do it from the front, as we're seeing in this replay, but he's also got an impressive race sense where he can navigate his way through the field and be charging at them late. And if they let him get close to them, he's going to make his presence felt.
Yep, that he will. Class act he is. And now for the greyhound who will jump from box 8, Molly, and that is Passmark, where we speak about X Factor. Is another one. He's got reliability. He's a bread and butter type.
Without a doubt. I came across a little stat when I was going through his form. He's won a city race or a provincial feature in the last 8 months every single month. Like, what a greyhound to have in your kennel, just seeing that money ticking over. So another really, really tough ask here. Box 8 certainly isn't going to do him any favours, but still a great greyhound to have in the kennel.
Yep, indeed. There's the 8 runners, and of course, as we mentioned earlier on, the reserves being Lakeview, Nola, and also Facetious. As for a top tip, Smithy, you first. Who wins a Zoom Top for 2025?
I just can't go past Ethanol Water from the box draw. Leading into the box draw, I was probably tossing up between Black Silencer and Ethanol Water as well, but I've landed with Ethanol Water from the inside draw. I think box number 1 is really going to suit her, and she's going to go, if not straight to the front, she's going to sit leaders back and get the job done.
Yep, indeed. And Molly, who are you leaning towards for the Zoom Top on Saturday night?
I'm going to go Black Silencer. I really ummed between him and Unreal Speed. I think speaking to both of the trainers, it's really hard to make that decision, but Black Silencer for me.
And I'm going to go with Land Franco. The X Factor boy, I just think the penny's dropped. He's racing more consistently. If he gets clear, he'll go berserk like he did in his last outing at the Meadows. So there's a look at the Group 1 Zoom Top for the Stayers this Saturday night at the Meadows to round out Week 1 of the Australian Cup Carnival. Quick break, back more with the market and how that looks ahead of the 2 big ones on Saturday.